Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting and wild and intangible episode of the R&R Podcast, where we aim to make you more uncomfortable than a youth-sized jockstrap. I'm your host, Robert Jones, along with my co-host, Randy Watkins.
Randy Watkins. It's like you're squeezing one out. It's been hurting you all day.
I was squeezing something.
Get hernia, Randy Watkins.
Yes, constipated Randy Watkins. So, Randy, why don't you tell us about a couple of things we're going to talk about on the show this week?
Another slow sports week. So
what?
Well, yes.
You're telling me that mid-May is the doldrums of the sporting year?
That it is, other than
it's
the playoffs.
Only because, I was going to say, it's only because the NBA playoffs were settled so quickly in the second round. First round, wildly exciting. Second round, nuh-uh.
Yeah, dude. I haven't I honestly haven't been following it as close as I should have, but when I pulled everything up, it's like, whoa. I mean, we're already in the conference finals. Damn, that sweeps.
Yeah, the Celtics are going to well, I don't know about that, brother. Celtics are going to take on the Cleveland Cavaliers on Sunday, which seems like a big layoff to start that series, but whatever. Shouldn't Cleveland get the benefit of the doubt that since they handled Toronto so quickly that that Boston has to go right into their series with less rest? I feel like with this much rest, you feasibly can say, well, they both had good rest. Then there's no incentive to finish someone off in 4 games.
That wasn't even a series. Just swept the crap out of them.
Speaking of which, the coach for the Toronto Raptors has been fired.
I saw that. Yeah. Bye-bye. I guess you go 0-4.
After a 54-win season.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's pretty harsh when you say the number 1 seed coming into the finals too, or tournament. Sorry, playoffs.
Yeah.
Yikes. I mean, who else is out there better? Where are they going to find another coach that will get them 50 wins coming out?
Quite frankly, here's the deal. They need another option at the 2 spot. I mean, they've put everything on their star, and it's kind of the same LeBron problem. You can't depend on somebody who's shooting only 32% from beyond the arc. And that's part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, they need a little bit more help there. But it's a shame because they're a young team. They're doing well. I'll tell you what, I was really impressed with the Sixers this year. There's an argument to be made that perhaps they're a team that are pushing real hard for LeBron. I don't necessarily think that's where he's going to go, but you certainly have to think that they're in contention. I will say some big news that hit today really is that it is looking like the Carolina Panthers will be picking David Tepper as the winning bidder to be the new owner.
David Tepper.
Yeah, at 60 years old, he's the richest of the bidders with a net worth of $11 billion. So that's a personal net worth of $11 billion. Whereas a lot of the other guys were like putting together minority ownership groups. And David Tepper is actually already currently a minority owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, to be a majority owner of a team, you have to get rid of your minority ownership. But it's much easier to get rid of that. It's much easier to sell that off. But the NFL, if you are part of an ownership group, you have to be heavily vetted. And since he's a minority owner in the Steelers, he's already been vetted, and the NFL owners know about him. So if Tepper is the one that they truly announce and elect on, they wanted to do it. I think the owners meeting is next week or 2 weeks from now. And there they will vote, and you need a 75% vote to approve a new owner. And he'll likely be approved because there's no reason not to. He has a lot of money, he has experience running teams, and he's invested in the area. And I think he's based out of Charleston, so he's not that far from Charlotte, where his corporate headquarters are, although he'll probably move much of his operation to Charlotte, you would think, if he owns the team. He's going to at least be there more often.
His name kept coming up.
He was the first one,
right? He's the hedge fund guy, right? Yeah,
hedge fund guy. Yeah, and he was really originally like the one that was anointed, this is going to be the guy, or he was the most serious of them. He had certainly had the most money. And quite frankly, the Panthers are expected to become the most expensive sale of a professional sports team ever. They are expecting for them to sell at 2.5 to upwards of over $3 billion.
Wow. And he could just write a check for that, I bet.
Right. Yeah. Well, and they'll, of course they figure that out. But yeah, when you're worth 11 billion, it's a matter of reassignment of assets, liquidating assets, or, that's what it really comes down to. But, Jerry Richardson is already a rich man, but quite frankly, if this is his out, his payday is going to be pretty darn nice.
I'm just going to go ahead and post-date this check for August right before the season starts so that,
what's funny? Yeah. don't cash it.
Rolls around, I have a team. Don't cash it. Yeah. You cash it. The penalties on a $2 billion check are really going to screw me over.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Yeah. But anyways, another a little interesting. Oh shoot! I got distracted by your bad joke.
Sorry. I was also going to throw in. I'm sure Wells Fargo would be in on that too. Zing!
Yeah. Woo! Get another slap on the wrist. But anyways, another one of the stipulations that they believe will be a clause in the contract is that he can't move the Panthers. Now, it would make no sense to move the Panthers because the big question is, where would you move them? Previously, Jerry Richardson was using teams being moved to LA as leverage to get the city of Charlotte to pay for basically some renovations on the stadium. And they accomplished that by taxes on the taxi services, hotel services, those sorts of things. So basically he was saying, well, we could go to LA, and then Charlotte's like, well, we really don't want you to do that. And quite frankly, Jerry Richardson's a Charlotte guy for life. So I don't think anybody really thought he was going to. But now there's two teams in LA, and you've got a team in Oakland that's looking to go to Vegas. Basically, there's nowhere for the Panthers to go, even if they wanted to move them. But that would make no sense. You've got a team that's been here for, 24 years. Or 23 years. I can't remember exactly what was it 94 or 95 the first year the Panthers came in?
I thought it was 96, actually.
It may have, okay. In that case, 22 years. Right. And they are established as the Carolina Panthers. I mean, I know teams move. Even big teams have moved. So there may be a day that they do that. But you got to think, if you're the NFL, you want to keep a foothold in the growing Carolinas market. We are on pace in North and South Carolina to outgrow a majority of the regions in the United States. We're one of those big up and coming markets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So just food for thought.
Well, and I think of us being somewhere in the middle of the states, the teams you have in the North and the teams you have in the South.
Yep.
With what, three teams in New York and three teams in Florida too. So we're right there smack in the middle. And I agree with you. I think it would do the NFL injustice to get rid of a small market team like Carolina, which I think has grown in kind of a much larger market for them, I would say, because the Carolina, I think, fan base is very loyal. So
yeah. Well, think about me and the other Carolina fans that I mean, I would not say that we are as intense as like Dallas fans or Redskins fans, but we're up there. There isn't the same pedigree. Let a Panthers win. Have the Panthers win a Super Bowl, and now we're talking.
Right. Well,
speaking of which, other Panthers, while we're in Panthers Corner, before I forget, Fozzie Whitaker, one of our starting running backs, is out. Tore his ACL in practice the other day. Yep. So they signed 3 more running backs out of free agency.
I hate injuries in camp and preseason. I always hate hearing that, because there can be nothing more frustrating as a player than getting injured right before the season starts.
Well, and Fozzie's been kind of injury prone, unfortunately.
Yeah. And he's been solid. I mean, he's not going to be a feature of the running game, would he? I mean, with Christian McCaffrey being there, and I completely forgot that they got C.J. Anderson in the offseason.
And now we've got a good wide receiver. The thing that bugs me is that we still don't have an offensive line. So if there's one weakness in the Panthers game, it is absolutely the offensive line. But Cam Newton just today turned 29 years old. And as far as I'm concerned, he's done a pretty good job of taking care of himself. If he can keep playing, I still see years of production out of him. Randy, I'll be honest. I'd be happy from him and the Panthers one Super Bowl win. I'd be very satisfied with that. Just one. I'm not even as selfish as a Pats fan. We need to win every year.
Right.
But I think they've got it in them, and I think they've got the staff to do it. It's just a matter of execution.
Well, they brought over Matt Khalil, right, from the Vikings, or was he there last year?
I think he was there last year.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. He's solid. So Blindside is gone, right? They finally cut him. Johnny Stewart's gone. This is going to be a different. It's going to be an overhaul for them kind of this year. So plus with the three corners, like you said, kind of revamping the defense. Let's see where they go.
And that's. The year they went to the Super Bowl, their defense was just it was not number one because Denver was number one. But when you had the number one offense and the number two defense on the same team, that was an impressive year. Their Super Bowl run was pretty impressive. It's a shame. There's something about 15-1 teams or 16-0 teams like the Pats. There's this sense of invulnerability. Look at Virginia. Virginia only had 2 losses. So Virginia Cavaliers in NCAA basketball had 2 losses all season. They get in the tournament, they lose their first game. There's an overconfidence.
I love that we can keep bringing that up just because we called that. Yes,
I know.
That's
the truth. It's the truth.
Yes. All right. Well, enough of your hard on for the Carolina Panthers.
Panthers Corner.
Panthers Corner. There we go. Our first R&R podcast bit. Damn it! I've been trying to think of bits all weekend, or actually all day today, and we come up with Panthers Corner. Shame on us, Robert.
How about in the Panthers Den? Or the Panthers Perch.
I like kitties. Meow. In other NFL news, your rival, your NFC South rivals, I should say, the New Orleans Saints will be losing, arguably the best 2-back system in the league, at least for the first 4 games, with featuring Rookie of the Year Alvin Kamara and Alabama Slammer Mark Ingram. Due to Mark Ingram's quote-unquote PED violation. So, I don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. You can cue the sound effect. So, I don't know how much you read into this, but what was interesting about it, that the NFL was calling it a quote-unquote PED violation, but his agents are saying otherwise. So
whatever.
His agents
always do that. I mean, Thomas Davis is going to be out for the first 4 games of the season. So,
true. But what his agents are saying was at the end of 2017 season, as a result of the NFL mandated random drug test, Mark Ingram tested positive for a substance that was not a PED nor an illegal substance, but a substance in fact permissible with the proper use of an exemption with the NFL. So he's already appealed it, and the NFL's quote-unquote arbitrator has denied the appeal. So
yeah,
here we go. Another big-name player struck out with the quote-unquote PED violations.
I've told you, man, I think we should just shoot him full of whatever is, gets him back on the field. I want the fastest, best, strongest versions of the players out there. So what if their nuts shrink? You're getting paid millions of dollars for entertainment. I mean, let's face it, the NFL is the modern Coliseum gladiator. And just like Coliseum gladiators, people have this misconception that the gladiators were murdered. No, you spent lots of money and time cultivating that talent. So gladiators would fight, but more often than not, it was to a stalemate or the submission of one over the other. And that's essentially what the NFL is. It is blood sport. You know, it's controlled, confined blood sport with pads.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think people love, you know, UFC so much these days? There's a primal nature to humans that we continually try to deny. And quite frankly, I think there's been an understanding. So, for instance, in baseball, it became so taboo because baseball is all about the quote unquote integrity of the game. But in the NFL, we don't have that. We understand that these guys look like roid raged monsters, and it's a younger game compared to baseball. So when we find out that a guy was doing steroids or that a guy was using human growth hormone or that a guy was taking testosterone, it's like, well, of course he would. This is brutal. It's blood sport. Whereas in baseball, it's like, you're really not making a lot of contact. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I guess at the end of the day, it just doesn't bother me. Or maybe I'm desensitized to it because I grew up during the steroids era.
Well, and their bodies are shot by the time they're 28, 29 years old, especially if you're a running back. You're taking all these shots to the knees. You're taking all these shots to the head. And I think this era of the CTE, you know, inflated infatuation, if you will, of safety has gotten overblown and overwhelming for just like you said, for a sport that's based around contact. So, you know, it's like it's talking out of two sides of your mouth. We want you to beat the hell out of each other, but at the same time, we want you to be safe about it. We don't want you to hit in a certain area. We're going to lower the target. You know, it makes absolutely no sense. At what point do you stop calling it football? I guess is my question.
Yeah. Well, and you know, you and I have lamented on this show before about how much we love defense. And that's been a big change to the game. But here's another argument, and I'm going to try and take a different approach with this. If you are a young man and you have been gifted an opportunity from your physical ability and your intelligence to make millions of dollars in the athletic prime of your life, and there is something that you can take that would get you back on the field and make more money, who are we to prevent them from making the most of their financial abilities or financial opportunities? And that's another thing that we're really not taking in perspective. Every game that they are not on the field, they're not being paid the same. You know, you have to participate to earn your keep. And particularly in the playoffs, you know, playoff pay is a whole different thing. Quite frankly, I think playoff pay is too low. There doesn't seem to be a huge incentive pay wise just to be in the playoffs. But anyways,
yeah, I mean, what's next for the NFL? They're going to, you know, stop cryogenic therapy. I mean, that's gotten big. Right. All the athletes cryogenic therapy, they're going to stop that too because that boosts their metabolism and gets them back on the field faster.
Just wait till lab-grown umbilical stem cells become legal in the United States, because that technology, there's this big misnomer about stem cells, and especially because it was being used as a means with which to take advantage of embryonic stem cells. It was a whole body rights, human rights, tissue rights thing that became. But the fact of the matter is that embryonic stem cells are awful stem cells for regrowing things, because an embryonic stem cell specifically wants to be a baby. And so when you put it in a human body, essentially it turns into a tumor. But it's not a tumor. It's not a tumor. It's not. Who is your daddy and what does he do? But anyways, the umbilical
all day.
The umbilical stem cells, which can, once cultivated, be grown in a lab, Randy, those things have been able to reduce muscle injuries, ligament damage. If you can get somebody who's had a spinal tear in the first 6 months to get a treatment with these stem cells, it fixes them. It does not give them some mobility. It fixes their GD spine. It is amazing stuff. And so imagine if you, tore a muscle, like seriously tore a muscle, and within 2 games, you could have that mended in the NFL, like actually mended, like grown back and healed and stronger than before. That's a whole new ball game.
That's insane. That's insane to even think about.
And the thing is, so I would recommend to anybody who's interested in what I'm talking about, because again, I'm just a layman and I've only listened to a little bit, but there's a great episode of the Joe Rogan podcast where he talks to an expert on this who's been doing these studies in South America for 30 years. And they talk about how it's not just every stem cell too. Some donor stem cells from the umbilical cord blood, are better than others. And the ones that they call super stem cells, they literally grow them in a petri dish ad infinitum. Once they have one sample, they can replicate it over and over again. It's astounding. It really is just astounding. And the stories are just amazing. So go check that out, the Joe Rogan podcast. Just look up Joe Rogan podcast stem cells. It'll pop up. But that's going to change the way we look at sports forever. Yeah. Combat injuries, for God's sake. You think about all the guys we know who have problems, who were shell shocked or who have mobility issues because of nerve damage, and it's just astounding.
Well, what it could do for the sport would be revolutionary beyond even any recovery regimen there is right now. But I think guys are always looking for the next best thing. Like we're talking about the cryogenic therapy you saw in swimming where they're using the cups. And Michael Phelps shows up with all these weird ass circles on his back and everybody's like, what the hell is that? So, guys are always looking for the next best recovery regimen. And, I think it leads us down a path where it's got to get better and it's got to get faster. But I think these sports organizations are kind of falling behind with that and saying, no, not allowing it, immediately cutting it off at its legs before any of that begins to happen. And let's face it, the NFL has put such a broad terminology around performance enhancing drugs or performance enhancing substance because so they can control everything. And that's what it boils down to. It's quite sad.
I mean, for goodness sake, I think it's hilarious when people refer to marijuana as a performance-enhancing drug. Robin Williams said it best. In what way? If you put a candy bar at the other end of the court?
Oh, that would be the only way.
Hey, man, it looks like a giant Snickers.
Yeah. I'm just going to get rid of the ball here and just run down the court.
All right, hit us with some more news, man. We got some more playoffs to talk about.
All right, yeah. So not much else is happening in the NFL this week. All the teams are getting ready for OTAs. So that was pretty much the gist of it. But NHL playoffs are going on, and looks like the conference finals are all set.
Yep.
One tidbit of that conference final was the stunning upset of the Pittsburgh Penguins and Sid the Kid Crosby finally going down.
You called that, buddy.
They did not make it to Game 7. I was so glad the Caps took them out in Game 6. So,
and the Caps are up right now 4-1 on the Lightning.
Oh, go Ovi. So that's awesome. Mind you, I haven't watched a single game, but
yeah. Well, Randy, you gotta be real careful pulling for a Russian like that in today's climate.
So in the Western Conference, the Las Vegas Golden Knights continue their lightning path versus the Winnipeg Jets.
Go Jets!
Gosh dang it! Yeah, the Jets. So,
somebody was hitting the sauce a little hard before we recorded this episode. That's why you gotta dip your toes into the hooch as you meander through the episode, Randy. That's what you gotta do. You can't slam it beforehand.
Oh man. Hey, I gotta get ready. Gotta get that confidence sauce going, buddy.
Yeah, man.
It's a Friday night, feeling good. Love podcasting with my boy Robert. So I'm ready to roll.
You old softy. You know they got a pill for that.
I thought it was to get hard, not go soft.
Yeah, no. I'm saying you're too soft. You need to. Yeah, no, I'm excited about this. I don't know why, man. I like having an underdog team that's coming out of nowhere, especially with my Carolina Hurricanes just shatting their way through the season.
Yeah.
I'm super duper excited about these playoffs. I'll probably actually watch more hockey this year than I have in the last 10. That being said, a little bit of Carolina Hurricanes news. We've just hired a new coach.
Wow. I did not know that.
And
I just know that the last 5, what is it? I'm just pulling up the stats now. The last 5 years have just been god awful for the Canes.
We've hired Rod Brindamore, who was a captain and leader of the team during our Stanley Cup run.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes,
sir.
Yeah,
we have not been to the playoffs in 10 years, dude. I did not realize that.
Yeah. Longest drought in the NHL.
Jesus Christ. 36-35 this year. 36-31 2016 or 17 season. 35-31, 30-41, 36-35. So they're teetering around the 30 wins.
The 500 mark.
Yeah, the 500 mark. And they just can't get over that hump. So maybe he's the guy that will do that. Haven't been to the Stanley Cup Finals. Gosh, dude, it's been since 05, 06. Holy Jesus.
12 years.
Batman.
12 years.
12 years since we won the Stanley Cup. So maybe they can make that happen again.
It happened, you know?
Yeah. And I wasn't a Raleigh native then, so I don't know what that felt like.
Well, neither was I. I was in Asheville at that point.
Okay.
But I'd been to games. I had lived in Raleigh for a few years before then. So
you said Brindamore is coming? I've heard his name before.
Right? Yeah, like I said, sorry. So Brindamore was on the team as a captain. Like I said, during this.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He's a famous Carolina Hurricanes player, and so it's kind of interesting to hear him getting the top spot. But he's somebody who gets that tough culture. What Carolina Hurricanes are missing is some toughness and some resiliency.
I would definitely agree with that.
They have the second lowest. They are the second lowest paid team in the entire league. So they've gone for budget players, and that's not doing it because what was the stat? 8 of the 9 lowest paid teams didn't make the playoffs, but 8 of the 9 top paid teams did.
Is that in terms of
total
salary?
Total salary
of talent on their team. So they have the lowest pay for all the talent on their team, basically.
No. All the combined. Yes. So if you combine all the salaries on their team, they are the second lowest salary in the league.
Wow. So that's why they really don't have any big names. They're not paying for any talent, basically.
That's right.
So, yeah.
So, got to fix that.
Is there a salary cap in the NHL? I'm not too much aware of how that works out.
Yes, there is. The weird thing about the NHL is how they draft. I don't remember exactly how that happens because you can reserve certain players and positions, but they've got a salary cap.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, they hopefully he'll do a much better job of getting some bigger name talent to the Carolinas so that we can actually win some games, because not qualifying for the playoffs for the last 10 years, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they finished 6th in the division this year. They haven't finished higher than 3rd since that 08-09 season. So, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So the finals are set. It's interesting to see. So if the Las Vegas Golden Knights will go on to win it all, maybe the first time. So we've talked about expansion teams making the playoffs, but no expansion team has ever won the Stanley Cup Finals, right?
I don't think so. I will search that. I mean, it's certainly possible. There have been some good teams. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever done it their first year.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's why it's such an interesting story. And you think about the guys that they have. I mean, it's kind of a bad news bears sort of a thing. It's not like they're a bunch of rejects, but there's no huge names, and they're doing it. However,
the only name I recognize is Marc-Andre Fleury, and he's not even the starting goalie. I don't recognize anybody's names.
The one argument to be made, and I've mentioned this before on the show and I'll mention it again, and I know it's a little conspiracy theorist, but the best thing for a sports team is for a tragedy to befall your city in a year. Don't believe me? Hurricane Katrina, Saints. Look at Houston last year, has that horrible hurricane, and then they win a World Series. And now the Las Vegas Golden Knights, after the shooting last year, are now headed towards potentially their first Stanley Cup. It's a pattern. It's a pattern. Japan has the tsunami, and then the women win the Women's Soccer World Cup. It's a coincidence if it's once or twice, but 10 times in the last 15 years, I don't know. It kind of stops becoming a coincidence. It certainly makes you question, does it really catalyze a fan base? Does that automatically make a team better? I don't know. But then you hear about something like a Singapore betting syndicate was revealed to have fixed 200 FIFA matches, Randy. So
it's the damn lizard people, Robert. I'm telling you, they're taking over.
They're turning the friggin' frogs gay, Randy.
It's a goddamn coup.
They're dropping a gay bomb.
Gay bomb.
A gay bomb.
Yeah, that was a Chappelle bit, right? It turned all of
Gotta drop your voice real low. A gay bomb.
Gay bomb. Got rid of all the masculinity. We'll blow it right out of them.
It sounds like you're saying game on. Oh, man. Well, it looks like you got another point here about the NHL, so let's hit it.
Okay, so I don't know if you'll follow me here, but only 2 of Canada's 7 teams made the playoffs. Does that say something about the nation that their home sport is hockey?
Yes. I would say it is quite indicative of where Canada is headed. Look at their prime minister. Does Justin Trudeau look like he could take a hit on the hockey rink? I don't think so. Sorry, or should I say Mr. Castro? Sorry.
Yeah, so you think they're on the decline?
It's funny. There's cycles to these things. The world talent is getting better and better, and more of that world talent is getting access to the NHL. We've become more international. I heard this argument made today about today's NBA versus Michael Jordan's NBA, and the Michael Jordan NBA was not an international NBA. There were very few players from abroad, but now we have more players from the world stage playing in the NBA. The talent pool is 10 times better than it was in the 90s. And that's just a fact. I mean, we've got guys, we're basically looking over the entire globe for talent.
We got Bol coming in from Sudan at 7-3.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, Robert, 7'3"?
7'3".
I mean, he has an 8-foot wingspan. I mean, come on. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The international talent now is much more incredible.
Well, you've got guys like Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili who just keep going, and those, you've got Italian via Argentina, and then Frenchie. So it's a global game. There's a reason why not the World Baseball Classic. I mean, that's its own thing, but what's the World Basketball Championships? Not outside the Olympics. You know the one I'm talking about. I don't remember the exact title.
Yeah,
it's the one we dominate at. Speaking of which,
I think it may be the World Basketball Championship, right?
It may be.
Sounds like WBC, or World Basketball Challenge, or something like that. Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited to see Jim Boeheim take over for Team USA, but he was an assistant coach under Krzyzewski with Team USA, so he's kind of a natural fit, and I like his coaching style. I hate, Syracuse is always a good team, so whenever Duke plays him, it's like, come on, all right, hope we win. But it's out of respect for Jim Boeheim. He is a good coach,
and he has a great court presence. He commands the court. He is a general on the hardwoods, so he makes it happen. So
the best coaches do that. But yeah, is this a decline with Canada? It certainly could be. You pointed out that they came in third at the Winter Olympics, which is unusual.
They were beat out by freaking Germany.
Yeah, I do not think hockey when I think Germany. I really don't.
No, No, I don't either. I mean, I was talking to, my wife was asking what we were talking about on the podcast tonight, and her family's German. And I said, did you realize that Germany finished ahead of Canada in hockey in the Winter Olympics? And she was just the look on her face like, Germany? And I was like, yeah, can you freaking believe that?
You got to watch out for the Germans trying to take over the world, man. Every 40 years or so, the frickers are running around.
We're all dominators.
Well, you got to watch out for that. Randy, I got a lot of German on my mom's side of the family. So if you ever wonder where my competitive nature comes from, you better believe it's the German side. I made a joke recently. My dad's side of the family are Scotch, and my mom's side of the family are German. And somebody told me, like, oh, you had a beer. Yeah. Well, and they said, are you? How well do you handle your liquor? And I said, oh, I handle it just fine. I'm Scotch German, so you'll know when I'm drunk because I'll be invading England. I'll be beating up some English guy.
They kill the English for lightning bolts from his ass. When I was in England, I saw I don't know if I ever told you this story, but I was on a train to Scotland, and the sign on the side of it's like, just a sign off to the side of the railroad track said, "Leave your trash in England." Like, yes, the war still lives on.
Somebody made a comment the other day. They said, oh, English, Scotland, Wales, they're all the same. And I looked at this guy from America and I said, okay, Canada.
Yeah, exactly right. If you've never been out there, then shut the hell up. You have no idea what you're talking about. Well, you're talking about
people who have grudges that go back 1,500 years, man. You did. I mean.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's real. It's live if you're uncut if you're over there.
I mean, the British used to call the Scotch oat eaters because the English only believed, you fed oats to horses. And the Scots, that's oats grew better in the Highlands than wheat. And so they ate oats. But that's all right.
You know what also grew better in the Highlands? Kilts.
That's true. Well, you know why Scottish men wear kilts? That bell's got one hell of a clapper. Hi-oh!
Zynga.
Yeah, that'll ring your kilt.
So who do you think's going to win it all with the NHL finals?
The NHL
got any
finals,
favorites?
If I'm honest, I think the Golden Knights are going to get past Winnipeg, and I really didn't think the Caps would get this far. I still think Tampa Bay is a good team. Let me check on the score real quick. All right, it's 4-2, but there's only 5 minutes left. I think
in the third?
Yeah, in the third. I think that the Lightning are the better team. But who knows, man? The Caps have some strong energy behind them. My call is the Knights versus the Lightning, but it could just as easily be the Caps. I know you're pulling for the Caps.
Oh yeah, and I think the Knights will be there with them. So, man, dude, the Knights got a lot of momentum behind them, dude. They may pull out a championship.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, the Lightning they were in the playoffs last year, right? I mean, let's see.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were.
They didn't win the Stanley Cup last year, but I want to say they went pretty far last year, didn't they?
Yeah, last year it was the Penguins, so they couldn't have gotten past the Penguins.
No, yeah, that's right, because we were talking about 3 in a row for the Penguins. Yeah. So
yeah, I still say it's been 2 Stanley Cups in a row is still pretty dang impressive. I still think Sidney Crosby is the best shooter in the league.
Hands down, he'll go down in NHL folklore. So why don't you hit us up with some NBA news?
Yeah, well, we'll cover this pretty quick because we're down to the NBA finals. So we've got Cleveland versus Boston, which I don't know months ago you and I said that was basically going to be what it was. And then on the opposite side we have shocker Golden State versus the Rockets. So I'll be honest, I can't buy Boston. Everybody keeps talking about Boston's Coach Stevens. Oh, he's this brilliant genius, whatever. He can do anything. I think that LeBron's will assert itself again, and they'll get past Boston.
Mm-hmm.
They keep saying 6 or 7 games. Honestly, I see Cleveland in 6. But it may be sooner. They just, without Kyrie, it's going to be tough for them because Boston has no one who can cover LeBron. They've got nobody. Nobody can match up to his size and presence. So if he asserts himself, I think they'll handle that series. Now, the more interesting series, as far as I'm concerned, is Golden State Rockets. I want that series to go to 7. And I really would love to see the Rockets get past Golden State. I think that'd be good for them. I think it'd be great for Chris Paul. But I also think it would be good for Golden State to be like, oh, wait, we have all these amazing players and yet can't get it done. But even if it's Golden State, Cleveland again for the 4th time in 4 years.
I pray that doesn't happen. I really do hope the Rockets move on because I do think they have a really good team.
I do think the best teams right now are in the West. I do think Golden State, the Rockets are.
Oh, I'm definitely more excited about the Western Finals than I am Eastern. I'm with you because I just don't see Boston maybe getting 2 games out of that series if they're lucky. Like you said, if it goes 6 and Cleveland wins it with game 6, but I don't know. Definitely the Western Conference is more intriguing.
Yeah, in a big way. So, but we'll have to check in on this, and that'll be interesting. I'd love to watch a game together too, because they are exciting. The NBA product, as much as I love college basketball, the NBA product is at a different level. Those guys execute at just an insane level, and we take it for granted what they are capable of doing. And I'm reminded from the highlight reels, like these guys are superhuman. Like I said, we talked about in the last couple episodes, LeBron going end to end with a shutdown block off the backboard, takes the ball to the other end and shoots and wins. And it's just, God, basketball courts aren't small, Randy. So, but staying on some NBA news, why don't you talk to us about Kawhi Leonard there?
So Kawhi Leonard, some news has come out with him the last couple of days. I mean, we've talked about this before, but that he may be done in San Antonio. But a lot of NBA executives are saying he is absolutely done. I mean, he did not attend a single playoff game that his team was involved in. I mean, that just speaks volumes, Robert. I was just thinking about that as a team player. Like, what are your major star, your main star, if you don't even have him on the court, on the sidelines? What is that saying about his presence?
I'll tell you what,
his future.
It says your boy Danny Green couldn't knock some sense into him.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's bad. Well, he's checked out. So let's face it, you got Greg Popovich, old coach. You've got all these old players surrounding him. Kawhi Leonard is the star of the future. And I kind of, so what he's got right now is a bad attitude problem, but I kind of understand where it's coming from, because what are they doing to actually help him, to actually bring on some new young talent to grow with him?
It's true. With freaking Ginobili and Tony Parker there, they haven't really done anything.
They won't burn
since
them.
Tim Duncan was gone.
Well, they hung on to Duncan forever. It was the geriatric tour. And people were like, well, he's so dominant. And it's like, yeah, well, it's easy to be dominant when you're 7 foot tall and 250 pounds.
Right.
How much more do you have to do when you've got that kind of a physical advantage on somebody in the thing?
They brought in LaMarcus Aldridge and Paul Gasol, and they haven't really ignited that offense.
I swear to God, the Gasol brothers are arguably some of the most overrated players in the NBA.
They are, dude. Thank you for saying that, because I've been thinking that for effing years.
I get it. They speak 5 languages, and they're classical pianists, and they're super smart. Who cares? Pau Gasol was on one good Lakers team, and Marc Gasol has meandered around through the league, posting menial numbers. We get in love with with these names and this size. I don't know. We keep trying. They are a clear indicator of trying to make a star out of somebody. That's just not there.
Mm-mm. Yeah, so I think he's done. And somebody actually spotted him at an LA Dodgers game. So you think that's a coincidence? We talked about it before.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be natural for him to go to his conference rival. They'd love to stick a knife in the side of the Spurs. That's an old Lakers thing, and it would drive up their fan base because they're like, wow. Yeah, I mean, here's the deal: Kawhi's great. He's a great player. I mean, there's no argument there. I'm not going to say that he's not.
Right.
But the question is like, what's going to go on with the Lakers? We talked about before. Like, is there really that allure? Are there players that really want to go to LA? Because it's more of a brand decision than it is a sports decision, because it would take a lot of talent for them to really contend.
Well, I think that is where Magic Johnson's trying to take the franchise back to, the allure of not just another LA team, but the LA team. So, and if he brings in LA Bron, then they're going to make the next super team in LA. I'm going to say, I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James in LA next season. It's happening.
What if LeBron followed Kyrie to Boston? I don't think he'd do it.
I just don't see that. Yeah. I don't see. No, because their relationship ended in such a terrible fashion. Like, it just imploded. And he said, no, I got no beef with Kyrie. I have no problems with him. The media did probably hype that, but behind closed doors, something had to happen. You get rid of one of the best point guards in the NBA, something's going on.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. Not that I was super close to the Duke thing when Kyrie was there, but I did know some players, and I have known some people close to the team. And the thing about Kyrie is, like any star, he wants the credit as a star. And being second banana to LeBron James didn't really sit well with him. I think he also knows that LeBron's probably on his way out at the end of the season. So, like, did he want to get stuck in Cleveland or take advantage of going to a growing team while he could in the prime of his physical abilities? So, I think you could read the writing on the wall. And the real question is, like, Kevin Love, I feel like his best years were with Memphis before he came to the Cavaliers. He's putting up some good numbers this year. But we'll see.
Kevin Love had a great quote this week. I want to see if I can find it. There was a story that came out this week, him talking after a game. One of their, I think it was the last series before they went on to the finals. And he said basically something to the effect of, when we lose, I know I understand that that I take part of the blame. And I understand that when we win, I don't get any of the credit.
Yeah.
But when things finish out and all is said and done in Cleveland, I hope people will remember me as a player that contributed or was a part of the team. And I thought that was very well said from a person that is kind of a whipping boy. You've talked about it before, that
every LeBron team has a whipping boy.
Every LeBron team has a whipping boy, and he's been the whipping boy. He gets no credit when they win. He takes all the credit when they lose. So I thought it was very good. A very good quote. I wish I could find it right now. I should have put it in the show notes, but I read that this week and thought that was a very good speech by Kevin Love.
I like his character. I'll be honest, I like him a lot. Whenever I've heard him speak, he just, I don't know, call it old fashioned. He seems like a fun guy to go have a beer with. But yes, he has definitely contributed to the team, and he's given them height and strength under the basket that they lacked before. And especially, here's the deal: he is the center on that team, Randy, the center, and he can still shoot threes. He's a big danger from beyond the arc. And he's been really good in the postseason this year with that. And here's the deal: LeBron knows that. LeBron's the one that singled him out and wanted him to come join the Cavaliers. The question will be, where will he go? What will he do? I see he will definitely fill a role somewhere in the league. But if LeBron goes, I don't see any reason for him to hang around in Cleveland. He's getting paid $21 million a year, though. I don't know how long his contract lasts, but certainly something to consider. All right, let's talk a little PGA. We got the TPC Sawgrass Players Championship.
Yeah, so Webb Simpson at the top of the leaderboard, he already has a 5-stroke lead going into the weekend at 15.
You have to preface that with Webb Simpson from Raleigh, North Carolina.
I'm glad you know that tidbit because I had no clue.
Yes, sir. He's a Raleigh boy.
Really? Nice.
Or as Tony Raleigh says, Raleigh. Jesus.
Raleigh boy. Kornheiser says Raleigh. Oh, man. He does mispronounce things quite often. Says funny ways.
Dan Levitard has he mispronounces it too. It's Raleigh. Sir Walter Raleigh. Raleigh.
He has a 5-stroke lead going into the weekend at 15 under, dude.
Today he tied the course record set by Fred Couples. He shot 63.
Wow. Oh, Freddie Couples. That's awesome if you can tie a course record for Freddie Couples.
Or as I like to call him, Freddie Coupe.
Well, the 5-stroke lead, dude, as long as he maintains and doesn't absolutely collapse tomorrow and Sunday, I can't imagine him losing. I mean, that's pretty damn good.
I think it's astounding. Well, and the most upsetting thing is that he bogeyed the last hole, so he almost had the course record. I mean, that's just... oh my God. It just would, to be so close. But it's exciting. It's good to see somebody coming up. I remember them saying, what's his name? I think I remember hearing murmurs of, Dustin Johnson's going to be really good this weekend. And, he's basically not in it. And people like that Tiger's making it to the weekend, but it's great that he's there, but it's good to see somebody else kind of up at the top and setting new records. I mean, Sawgrass is a hard course, and it's
very hard.
I think it's 17 at Sawgrass. That is the island green.
Yeah, the shortest par 3 on the tour. I believe it is.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, and what's so funny is that, if you had a golfer with a normal fairway and bunkers and stuff, and it was the same hole, there wouldn't be any issues. There's something mental about knowing you have to hit onto an island. My mom and dad have a community. They live in a community with a 9-hole little par 3 golf course there. And it has a couple of island greens. And Randy, I swear to God, and they're only like 70 yards, but they screw with your head because it's an awkward short shot. And you have to plunk it on there. I hate
something about that water. Yep. It's well, and that's golf in general, right? It's what 70% mental.
Yeah.
Rest of it 30%.
Half the game is 90% mental, as Yogi Berra said.
90%. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
90%. What is it? Yeah, 90% of the game is half mental.
So especially that hole is brutal. I would love to just take one shot because there would be, maybe give me 100 balls and see if I can put one on that island. And probably wouldn't happen, honestly. That hole is that difficult.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, with him double bogey in that hole, you still have a 5-stroke lead going into the weekend. That's pretty damn impressive, dude. We'll see if he can maintain it. Impressive.
All right, one last little bit of news that I have to inject in here. The Yankees have just finished an 11-2 stretch, beating these teams. They have beat the Los Angeles Angels, the Houston Astros, the Cleveland Indians, and their divisional rival, the Red Sox, In 13 games, they beat them 11-2.
All right.
And they won the series against the Sox. They beat them. They won 2 out of the 3 games with them, and in dominant fashion. So the Yankees are back atop the leaderboard in the American League. That's one hell of a statement this time of the year.
I know it's why am I saying oh yeah, I don't like I'd give 2 craps about the Yankees and what they're doing this year, but good for you, buddy. I'm glad. I know it's because of my boy Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, you should care about the Yankees because, like I say, Giancarlo is hitting them deep balls, man.
I knew he would fit right in easily. He's already built.
They call it the Bronx Bombers.
And
the Bronx Bombers.
So he's already got 23 ribbies for the season. So that's awesome, man.
Ribbied for your pleasure. All right. I'll go for it.
I was going to say, although he's only batting .238, which is a downward trend for him. So hopefully he'll be pulling that up.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you beat guys, 10-1. Everybody's getting more at bats, Randy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Yes, sir.
All right. Very quick thanks to our Patreon supporters, Adraxis, James, and Arcane Scroll. Thank you so much, y'all, for supporting us.
Thank you.
If you like the show, toss us a couple shekels on Patreon. You can support us for just $1 a day or for $5 a month, also known as 17 cents a day. You can help us grow the show, pay for our server space, and just get better equipment and make better content, be better, more well-rounded individuals and contributors to society. But if you don't feel like supporting us on Patreon, but you do like the show, please tell your friends. That's the best way that you can do is to get them to subscribe to our show. Speaking of subscribing to our show, check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. And of course, do check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/Chrisco Industries. We also have a Facebook page, and Randy deleted a bunch of my other stuff. So I will say you can find us on Twitter at ChriscoCast.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got happy with copy and paste and edit, and damn it, Mac.
Yeah, you completely deleted all of my notes, which is great. All of the things. So it's not Chrisco Industries. You can find us on YouTube at ChriscoCast.
Well, hey, I found you at Chrisco Brand Biscuits today. I think it was. So maybe it still just redirects.
Yeah, it may redirect the old one, but that's the new handle, the new URL that we earned from YouTube from viewership was there. And of course, we always have to give a very special thanks and an honorable mention to our rock god, Dave Grohl.
Praise be unto thee.
Yeah, man. Oh, buddy boy, it's good to be back. It's good to be back.
Yeah. Gotta give up. Back.
No. Buddy, I am 22 days away from my baby boy being here.
Yes.
So we will try and stay on top of the episodes as best as we can. But if there is a gap, know that is what it is from.
It is goddamn baby's fault.
Yeah, I'm getting my hand broken by my birthing partner.
Yes, we're so excited for the new member to the family.
That's right, the newest member of the R&R podcast. We'll have a little an introduction. Maybe we'll do a little video so that everybody can see what my offspring is.
I was thinking it's time to introduce a third mic. So we'll give him a few years and we'll bring him on as third mic. Every great radio show has a third mic, Robert.
Well, you should know. Well, he'll be the sound guy, mostly just crying and pooping. But he will. He's already going to be decked out in like NC State and Carolina Panthers gear. Like everybody's been buying him stuff like that for like crazy.
Absolutely, I bet.
All right. For Randy Watkins, I'm Robert Joins, and this has been the R&R Sports Podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in. Tell your friends, and we will see all of you fine ladies, gentlemen, and smizmars next week.
Yeah, blame Canada.